the 30-second love affairs. The question is it 30 affairs or is it second loves?
It's 30-second
Yes?
second loves.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
Okay, and that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 30 seconds that's about how long it takes to read one of these poems, or how long
it's about how long it takes to read one of these poems. It's about how long the relationship
lasts.
lasts.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have this image of really temporary, transient feelings.
Number 5. Now this
Okay.
was one that you read at
Yes.
the thing. And y equals mx plus b, where I was x and you were b. The math. You're into math?
No. In fact, I hate math.
Because you have numbers. I mean, you have 30. It's a numerical poem.
I passed algebra in high school, which is where this equation is from,
Yes.
with a 60.01%.
And you needed to pass?
Yeah, I needed to pass. So
60.
I didn't. Yeah, I needed 60 to pass. So it was just right there. I've never been a math fan. I've always been somewhat good at it, but not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And once I started writing seriously, I've always wanted to place some sort of mathematical equations into it, because the topics are kind of distant from one another. They share very little.
12. Why the barber shop? Particular reason?
Some of these come from films.
Yeah.
This one in particular came from a thing I saw in a film class a couple semesters ago, and it's an avant-garde filmmaker. Her name is Janie Geyser. If you want to look her up ever,
Okay.
she's really amazing.
I'll have it on here so I can figure out how to spell it later.
She does avant-garde animation and sometimes not animation. And this is from one of her unfinished films where it's always kind of surreal and things don't make any sense. And we just see a person coming to a new town in the beginning and getting an apartment above a barber shop.
Okay. Yeah, people are always turning around. Was the notice? Any thoughts on this?
I like that, and that was also part of the movie.
Okay.
And there were a few shots in a row of just people turning their face from one side to another. And this poem came from notes about that film that I made in class, things that I noticed.
Yeah.
And one thing that I wrote down are people are always turning around. So when I was writing this, it's such a great line.
It is.
I loved it.
It is.
I didn't want to change a single thing about it. I didn't want to explain anything. I didn't want to, make it less surreal. I was just like, people are always turning around.
Yeah, I like that. 14.
All right. Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Oh, good. I had a couple of things here. I like the combination of reverently with my trembling hands and proceeded to masturbate fervently. I got a picture, masturbating.
Reverently and fervently go well together.
Masturbating reverently would have been interesting, I think. But those were good. And the trembling hands. The paper's still flat is the punchline of this particular story. Tell me about this.
Well, I don't know. I'm a punchline poet, I guess. I do mostly fiction when I write, so poetry is not what I'm best at, I guess. Okay. It's something that I experiment with, certainly, and I like reading it, but as a writer, I'm mostly a fiction writer.
Okay.
And so when I write poems, I tend to, in an amateurish fashion, kind of put a punchline at the end because I like to end strongly.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of flack for this, especially in graduate school workshops, poetry workshops, where that's a big no-no, apparently.
Really? You're supposed to not have this kind of dramatic climax?
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought the last line is the line that people pay most attention to.
I think if you're masturbating fervently, you ought to have a climax at the end, personally.
Exactly. But, that's true. And the paper still flat was just a nice reversal because it seems like the character is moving on from where he was in life, from this lonely place, I guess, from this place of dreams, of dreaming of flat paper women, flat everything, which is it's not even limited to just dirty cartoons. You pick up a Playboy, the paper's still flat. And so it's not quite as titillating as it really should be, as
Yeah.
it is intended to be.
Yeah.
And then the story goes where he gets a girlfriend and he forgets about the dirty cartoons, and then he starts writing poetry, and it means so much more, and it's so grand. And then he pauses, and it's like, wait, it's still on paper. The paper's still flat. It's still not real.
Yeah. This is part of a second love affair with writing for you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right. Number 21. This also has a nice punchline. I thought. I don't have anything to say about it, but I loved it. We have another barbershop sort of illusion here. When they held hands, nature receded away from them like a hairline.
Yeah, that means
the heck?
nothing. I just what things recede, and I'm like, well, hairlines kind of recede
Well, they do.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it kind of goes along with the maturation theme here, I suppose.
Yeah,
Is there,
maybe.
And here's these, kind
And the unsatisfaction, I guess, because people tend to be insecure sometimes about it. So it gives that like slightly
I
ironic.
can't understand
hint.
what the problem
Well,
is with that. But
Some people are fine with it. Some people
Yeah,
aren't.
well.
Like my dad is perfectly okay with it, but
Yeah.
my uncle is completely insecure about it.
yeah,
You know, so I get to watch both of those sides, and I'm like, what's the big deal here? I know that I would be insecure about it if my hair started receding. That's just a personal vanity.
well, you can
that-
come and see me. I have a program.
You'll counsel me
Yeah,
through
well,
it. All
we
right.
can- 25. Yeah, so this was also one that you read.
Yes, the Dickens.
Oh,
Everybody noticed the Dickens.
Yeah, it was it had that postmodern, the book talking to itself thing going. Tell me about, great, just when I finally made a friend. Are you friends with Dickens yourself, would you say?
No. I have no particular hatred for Dickens. I have a particular hatred for David Copperfield. And an even more particular hatred for the literature class I was in when I read that in college.
Okay.
And part of that was the whole thing where the teacher wasn't really looking for any unique opinions. He was just looking for standard information about books that are already studied enough.
Okay.
He wasn't looking for anything new.
Yeah.
I feel bad saying this into a camera, but I passed that class by using Cliff's Notes for everything.
Wow.
And it's not that I didn't even read David Copperfield. It's just I wanted to have the standard notions about
What's gonna
that
be
book
asked
in
of
my
you.
in my head,
Yeah.
so that I know what hoop to jump through for
Yes.
the professor.
Yeah.
And that's what I really didn't like. And David Copperfield is so long,
Yeah.
and Dickens is so hard to read anyway, that it's just it's frustrating. And I don't see people reading this for pleasure anymore.
Uh-huh.
So it felt like an interesting thing to kind of poke fun at a little bit.